Because of the 2024 ban list, a lot of players are saying this deck is dead. But today, big dogs, I'm going to be showing you, because of the said ban list, how this card makes the deck ridiculous. Hey, yo, wait. I kind of need that Trident Dragon. Asking a friend don't work with me. Them niggas broke. Let's go ahead and jump on in. So in case you guys didn't know, the 2024 August 31st ban list felt almost like a death knell to Tenpai Dragons, with hits to main deck cards like Sangen Summoning, meaning that Tenpai Dragon has less resources to protect your monsters during the main phase, and also another devastating hit with Pot of Prosperity, one of the biggest consistency components to getting into your engine, but also getting into powerful board breaker cards. Tenpai Dragon, by a lot of ultra competitive players, is considered just a dead deck. But I personally don't think that that's necessarily true. And today I'm actually going to be showing you some really cool combos that you can be incorporating in your Tenpai Dragon deck. This is pretty much what I've came up with day 0 testing of Tenpai Dragon. And as the format develops, of course, we're going to be able to make some adjustments. And if you guys have your own techs and tweaks that you may want to talk about, you can go ahead and let us know down below in the comment section. I want you guys to think of this deck profile as a mere guide, some things that you could do with your Tenpai Dragon deck, just giving you guys some other avenues to be able to explore, but also giving you some other merch that you should be looking into. That's right, big dog. If you go to TheCaliEffect.com, you can get some amazing merch. Not only do I have the best mats, like the one you see before you, there are also some sleeves you can get from TheCaliEffect.com in case you were wondering what sleeves I were using. Again, that's TheCaliEffect.com, and for the entirety of September, I may have something special for you guys. It is the best month of the year. But I'm pretty much done with shameless advertising. Let's go ahead and break down what makes Tenpai different and what am I using to make Tenpai Dragon better post the August ban list. It's best to start off with the starters of the deck, and there is 3 copies of Tenpai Dragon Hydra, 2 copies of Genroku, 3 copies of Tundra, 1 Dora Dora Dragon, 1 Terraforming, and still that 1 Sangen Summoning. So the interesting thing about this is that while it is 11 cards that you're seeing right now, there's actually 16 starters in the deck. And this pretty much guarantees you a 92% chance of opening 1 or 16 of those starters. The percentages of seeing one of these cards is still roughly around 80%, which is really good. But overall, that is one thing that I looked for with this particular deck after the ban list. Because losing Sangen Summoning wasn't just losing protection, it was also losing the ability of getting into your combo as fast as possible. I saw really hard about playing cards like Set Rotation and other field spells to increase the chances of getting into Sangen Summoning, but I didn't think that it was really worth it. And the reason why is because while Set Rotation could be a good card, it's just another one of those cards that doesn't fit in the correct situation. As for Dora Dora, I absolutely hate this Yu-Gi-Oh card. I actually don't think it's a great card. But one thing I do have to concede is that Dora Dora is another search target to be able to get into your entire engine, and it's kind of important post August 31st ban list with Sangen Summoning down to 1. And of course, we also complement these Tenpai Dragon monsters with 2 Fadra and 3 copies of Sangen Kaimin. Now, this is incredibly basic for a Tenpai Dragon build. One thing that is different is that I'm playing 2 copies of Fadra, where most players only play 1. My reasoning behind this is actually quite simple. I actually think that Tenpai Dragon Fadra is a great Yu-Gi-Oh card. I'm one of those Tenpai Dragon Fadra stands. In this particular build, there's actually quite a few ways to be able to get Tenpai Dragon monsters into the graveyard to be able to summon them back with Fadra too. And one thing that I think all Tenpai Dragon players hate is if you're playing 1 Fadra, drawing that 1 Fadra. It's not necessarily the end of the world, but it becomes incredibly hard to do your combo when you draw Fadra in your hand, and that's the reason why I bumped it up to 2. But now we have to get into the spice. What makes Tenpai Dragon so good post the ban list? Well, I think that it is very much worth considering playing the Kashtira engine. And if you guys wanted to play Set Rotation, I think that it's really, really smart because Pressure Planet Racehorse is already a shoe-in. So if you can find 2 other good field spells, possibly even like Pseudo Space, a card that can copy your Sangen Summoning in graveyard, I thought that that was really, really good. And then there's another field spell that just recently came out, not in Infinite or Forbidden, I think it was Legacy of Destruction. The card works almost like Pot of Prosperity when you're going second. Those could be the 4 field spells you can incorporate inside of your deck, but to be honest with you, for me, that was just too much engine. I don't know about you guys, but when I deck build, I think about all different types of possibilities. If they have multiple purposes inside of a strategy, then I genuinely like them. Kashtira Fenrir fits so many roles inside of this deck. It's a disruptor. It's a 1-card full combo. And it just so happens to be a level 7 guy that fits really well with the next engine that we're playing. I'm actually genuinely digging the Blaster Dragon Rulers of Infernos freshly off of the ban list. Now, the reason why is because Blaster also just so happens to be a level 7 monster, so even if your Kashtira Fenrir gets negated, if you can follow up with summoning Blaster, you can still make full combo. It serves that, but it's also an extension piece for other things. Blaster just so happens to be a level 7 Dragon Fire monster, something that you kind of need when you're playing Tenpai Dragons. Coolly enough, it allows you to be able to synchro summon into Trident Dragion and Transcendent Dragion to your side of the field. But also, more importantly, when Blaster is banished, it allows you to be able to search a Fire Dragon, something that this entire deck is. So essentially, being able to banish a Blaster, whether it's with the effect of a banishing card like Gold Sarcophagus, which you'll get 2 turns later, is crazy. But another great thing about Blaster is its other effect, discarding this card alongside of another fire monster. Take, for example, you discard a Tenpai Dragon monster to summon back with Fadra, you can then get rid of a card on your opponent's side of the field. Granted, skill drain is still limited to 1, but one thing that I've noticed is that once you ban a Floodgate Yu-Gi-Oh card, Yu-Gi-Oh players will find another Floodgate card to replace it with. In Yu-Gi-Oh, there's just way too many right now. What Yu-Gi-Oh players have been playing now is Power Sink Stone, a card that says each time a monster effect is activated, it gets a Spell Stone counter, and while it has 2 Spell Stone counters, neither players can activate the effects of face-up cards on the field. That can be incredibly problematic for Tenpai Dragon for trying to OTK. So not only does Blaster allow me to address that particular card in case they do try to play it, there are so many other cards in the game that I can address, and with Appaloosa Bull of the Goddess being banned, I have less worry about my opponent stopping it with a monster effect. Now, this could just be 100% all cope, but I still think that Burner is really good. I'm telling you, man, the combos and opportunities that Burner does open up for this deck is kind of sick. But this is the little package that I've been playing in place of the Sangen Kaiman engine to make Tenpai Dragons go. And fortunately, this isn't a very expensive engine. Now, lastly are the cards that me, TJ, Wesley, and pretty much everybody in my crew has been arguing about. Should we play hand traps or should we play board breakers? Should we play the Tenpai Dragon deck that plays Raigekis and Dimension Shifters and stuff like that? Or do we just hand trap the crud out of our opponent? I think it really depends on the play. Right now in Yu-Gi-Oh, there's no set Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that are hands down like this is what we have to be. So I think you have to go by a case-by-case basis. But with that being said, I do know some of the best cards that you should strongly consider for your Tenpai Dragon deck. Like, for example, I think that Bestial Magnamut should always be considered in the deck, even if you're playing Kashtira Fenrir. The upsides of this card is just way too powerful. Being able to search your Tenpai Dragon Genroku and summon it on your opponent's turn, then use your Genroku on your opponent's in phase to turn into another Dragon Ruler, it's just way too good to ignore. Now, if you want to go the hand trap route, I think it's best to play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, 3 copies of Ash Blossom, Nibiru the Primal Being just might be the best hand trap in the game right now, and then 3 copies of Effect Veiler. But no matter what build you play, I think that you should be maining 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet in considering that Called by the Grave. Forbidden Droplet is just way too sick of a card inside of Tenpai Dragon to cut. It does so much against the Yubel matchup. It's great against breaking the Snake Eyes board and just anything in between. But let's say, for example, you don't want to go this route. I think that the board breaker approach is still really good, and you can drop the Effect Veilers for Dimension Shifters and you want to, or you can drop some cards in here for Dimension Shifter. And here there's 3 copies of Molchummy Porelia, which, since this is a going second deck, I would probably consider playing this card in the deck no matter what. 2 copies of Triple Tactics Thrust, 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent, 1 Duster, 1 Change Art, 1 Monster Reborn, and 2 Raigeki. Now, a card of the hour is Pot of Prosperity. I didn't include it in the main deck or in the other deck that you could play if you want to go the board breaker route. And my reasoning behind it is that the extra deck for Tenpai Dragons, in my opinion, matters at this second. But in case you were wondering, I did drop Gold Sarcophagus for it. You can swap them back out if you want it. But now that I'm done with the main deck and both builds, I think that the hand trap build is obviously a lot cheaper. There's not a single overly expensive card where I can give you a budget option for the hand trap route. Let's go ahead and talk about the extra deck. The extra deck is really simple, and it actually goes aligned to what I've been saying about Tenpai Dragon for quite some time. A lot of people say that Tenpai Dragon is a synchro-based Yu-Gi-Oh deck, and I think you're wrong. I genuinely don't think that synchro monsters are good enough to make a synchro deck unless you have some incredibly powerful synchro monsters that you have access to. Tenpai Dragon has some pretty good ones, not enough to make me say that, yeah, it's a synchro deck. If you make this a complete synchro deck, you're probably not using all of your options. And I'm not saying that the synchro monsters that I cut aren't powerful and can't be useful. I'm pretty much saying what I said in that video you can go ahead and check out, talking about why synchro monsters aren't as good. You'll be able to get what I'm saying in depth, because right now I think I'm sounding stupid. So for the synchro monsters, there's one copy of Transcendent Dragon and Trident Dragon. For Blue that can't afford Trident Dragon, it's all right, go ahead and ask a friend. I'm pretty sure they're not as broke as mine and they'll have it. There's one copy of Samurai Destroyer. This card is actually really important for the yugioh matchup, and I mean, I think it's the best level 7 monster. One Black Rose and 2 copies of Bident Dragon. But now for the spice. There is so much more to this deck than synchro summoning, and one thing that I noticed is that this deck is actually excellent at doing the old World Sea Dragons Elantis combo. So there's one copy of Striker Dragon, 1 Seals, 1 Hida, 1 Promethean, 1 Raging Phoenix, and World Sea. I think that it was pretty cool to incorporate this combo line inside of the deck, but I do want to point out that these 2 cards are not mandatory for the deck. Granted, this is also another way how you OTK under Dimensional Barrier, but to be honest, with Branded being quote-unquote dead, who's playing that? But there is one more Link monster that I'm playing. I'm playing Cherubini, Ebon Angel of the Burning Abyss, and I'll explain that a little bit later. The Exceeds, I'm playing 1 Blaze Supreme, Ruler of all dragons, yes, all of them, and I'm playing 1 Draco Sack, which I'll also explain later, but if you're a really smart player, you probably already caught on. Let me show you the combo. Okay, big dog, so the 1 card combo is, I mean, if you didn't know, now you're gonna know. You're gonna special summon Kashtira Finra, use his effect to be able to get Kashtira Rice Heart, and then you're gonna go ahead and normal summon the Kashtira Rice Heart, using its effect, banishing Finra to banish the 3 cards from your opponent's top of the deck. Now, if you special summon Rise Heart, you will be locked into Exceed summons only. But because we didn't special summon Rise Heart, we are not locked. We'll use both of these monsters to Exceed summon into Mecha Phantom Beast Draco Sack, and then use Draco Sack's effect to be able to special summon 2 tokens, but don't worry, they won't be here for long. We'll link them off into Cherubini, Ebon Angel of the Burning Abyss. Let me move this all down so you guys can see everything nice and dandy. We'll use the effect of Cherubini, Ebon Angel of the Burning Abyss to be able to send Tenpai Dragon, Padra from our decks to the graveyard, and then we'll link again into our Promethean Princess. Now we'll use the effect of Promethean Princess to be able to summon Padra, and ta-da! You have a free summon to your Padra, which is full combo and should allow you to OTK your opponent. The bonus points here is that Promethean Princess does not stop you. Its fire locking capabilities does not stop you whatsoever from still full comboing, which I think is really cool. But there is another line that makes this a little bit more ridiculous. Burner, Dragon Ruler of Sparks plus Kashtira Finra means you did not commit your normal summon. You start off by doing it the exact same way. You add the Rice Heart, but instead of summoning the Rice Heart, you're just going to use the Burner's effect, discarding your monster to be able to special summon that Blaster Dragon Ruler of Infernos to your side of the field. Now you're going to use both of these monsters for an Exceed summon. You can summon out your Mecha Phantom Beast Draco Sack using its effect to send the Blaster to your graveyard. And keep in mind, even if your opponent does stop you right here, you have not normal summon. And you still have the effect of Blaster to summon from graveyard and 2 dragons, which I think is pretty cool. Use that to be able to summon out 2 tokens, summon out the Cherubini send the Padra, then link these 2 monsters off into the Promethean, and Promethean brings back the Padra. Now, in this particular situation, it's slightly stronger. Let's say for some reason our Padra effect got negated, our opponent just a bot. You can actually go into the Zelantis line full combo. You link into this, you then link into Zelantis, and then you banish 2 to summon your Blaster. And now when you resummon, you can still Promethean Princess destroy your Blaster, destroy your opponent's card, which also triggers your Raging Phoenix. So ironically, the Finra line just got a lot stronger with Burner, and it makes it full combo. But there's actually some other cool things that we have to talk about. Rewinding it back, this actually serves as more than just a line into your power cards. If it served as just a line into your engine, I would probably like it a little less. But Kashtira Finra, we already know as a disruption, gets the Kashtira Rice Heart. We then discard to be able to summon out Blaster Dragon Ruler of Infernos. And if you're going second, which you should be, you can actually Exceed summon into Blaze Supreme Ruler of all Dragon Rulers using its effect to destroy itself and your opponent's cards. Now, this is bonus points if you activate the effect of Cast Your Offender, because not only did you banish another card face down, Blaze, Supreme Ruler of all Dragons, will be able to destroy more cards on your opponent's side of the field. And then the next cool part about this is that we can use the effect of our Blaze Dragon. We can banish the Blaster and Cast Your Rise Heart from our graveyard, summon out our Blaze, and trigger the effect of our Blaster to be able to search either Tenpai Dragon Hydra, or if you guys are getting really spicy, you can search Genroku and special summon it. This pretty much means, again, that Cast Your Offender and Burner actually do have a place inside of this deck. Now, you're probably wondering, Callie, this isn't likely at all. There's no way you can get both Burner and Cast Your Offender into your hand. Well, there's a reason why I actually only play one Burner and need to only play one Burner, and while I'm playing a card that I absolutely hate. Dora can search Burner from your hand, and like I said, you don't need your normal summon, so essentially going summon Finra effect, search the Cast Your Rise Heart, summon Dora, you can search the Burner, and now you can actually just do the entire combo that I showed you. All you have to do is, instead of searching Hydra, you search the Genroku when you bring out or when you banish the Blaster. Pretty cool. But that's pretty much what I have for the update to Tenpai Dragons. I think that it's still going to be, at the very least, a really fun deck to play. But I'm really curious to know, what do you think about Tenpai Dragons, and what are you doing with the deck if you're playing it? Or if you're playing against it, how would you be able to stop this powerful combo that doesn't involve the normal summon if you have Burner? Of course, if you want to see more amazing videos, you already know what to do. Go ahead and check out these videos so I can catch you on the next one.